Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. Sure, fine. I'd hate to yawn and let some spectacular bit of foreshadowing slip by. Do you have no love? Are there any mystery novels that accept love as proof? No, there aren't. Erica laughed coldly and stared down at the two on the game board. Battler watched her quietly. Erica thought she felt a touch of pity in his gaze, and she averted her eyes uncomfortably. I do understand, more or less. Love can at least become a motive for murder. I can interpret this scene beneath the arbor to represent a possible motive for the crime if their engagement is somehow impeded. Then again, no matter how much people talk of love with words that aren't read, it's all just an illusion. Cackle. That's sad. So you could never love a human without proof given to you by a witch. Please put an end to this frivolous love talk. I'm your enemy, not a friend to whom you can talk about love just for the hell of it. I can't understand you at all right now. What on earth did you figure out? Weren't you and Beata always insulting and trying to kill each other? What kind of truth could you have reached to make you change your emotions regarding her? Please, don't tell me that feelings of true love has sprouted from your murderous rivalry or anything like that, okay? Lady Erica, let us have him continue the game's progression. Boring love scenes such as this are best finished quickly. Ah, you've got a point there. Sorry for butting in. Come on, let's move on. It's Shannon. I've come back. Indeed. The log for today has not yet been filled out. Yes. I'll do that right away. Cannon-kun, thanks for keeping an eye out while I was gone. That was a pretty long break. Cannon had already noticed there was a silvery glint coming from the ring finger on Shannon's left hand. Then I will retire. Please do not hesitate to wake me if anything occurs. Good night, Genji-sama. Genji disappeared off to the waiting room. After that, only Shannon and Cannon remained. Thanks for giving me some time. I'll stay here for the rest, so you can go to sleep now. So, it's my turn next? Yeah. Sorry, but we aren't going to lose. And I won't lose either. Even though you've always been a coward and let my lady take the lead until now. Wasn't it you who taught me, Ne-san? What did I teach you? The past is immaterial when it comes to love. The present is all that matters. If that's true, then I think my present is in no way inferior to yours, Ne-san. Shannon and Cannon glared at each other with serious eyes. That period of tension vanished when Shannon chuckled. Yeah, that's good. You and milady have to give it your all. If you do end up together, make sure you build up a relationship wonderful enough that the rest of us can cheer you on with all of our hearts. Well, you do have a huge lead on me. There's no helping that. That's what you get for your cowardice before now. I know. That is my sin. Shannon and Cannon fished around in their pockets and drew out two small things that glittered gold. They looked like the left and right wings of a gold butterfly. We are furniture. In order to become human and receive the miracle that allows us to love, we must rely on a miracle of magic once again. To think that her brooch would actually prove useful. It's the only magic within our reach. It was the golden butterfly brooch, which Beatrice had once given to Shannon in the hopes of creating love between her and George. Shannon then gave it to Cannon, but he let his emotions get a hold of him and crushed it into pieces. So when the two wings they held were brought together, it would gain the form of a beautiful butterfly. Then I'll be back soon. After all, they have asked me to play cards with them. Yeah, good luck. I'm sure my lady will be happy. It's a bit embarrassing. Enjoy that feeling. Cannon left the servant room. He went to go see Jessica and tell her what he had determined to do. Shannon quietly watched him go. The fragment of the brooch and the engagement ring let off a gold and silver glint. That takes me back. That's something I gave Shannon, if I recall. I always wondered if they lost it after Cannon stepped on it, but it seems they still had it the whole time. That's the golden butterfly brooch, isn't it? I read about the magical brooch that can save a love relationship in Featherine San's book. That had been the first time that Beatrice, Witch of the Forest, had interacted with a human and given them her power. Bit by bit, she had transformed from a mere ghost to the ruler of the mansion at night, and by making the servants believe in her, she had wiped away the anti-magic power, and then it eventually became possible for her to appear openly in front of Shannon, whose magic resistance had grown particularly low, and who had begun to believe in the existence of Beatrice. To Beato, who had been unable to interact with anyone for many years, this conversation with Shannon must have been especially fun. That's why I generously gave her the butterfly brooch. Cackle, cackle, I was in quite a good mood. It is no common thing for a heartless witch such as myself to be so gracious, but it's wonderful. You brought a pair of future lovers together. Of course, it did not do it to pamper them. It was in exchange for smashing that hateful spirit mirror that had repressed my magical powers. Thanks to that, I was able to regain much of my power all in one go. But then, one night, purple lightning smashed the shrine. Those of the surrounding islands called it an evil omen. Ooh, now that I think about it, that must have been the prelude to Beatrice Sama's resurrection. The Witch of Erections. Kumasao had the rest of the night off, so she had let Erika talk her into drinking a bit, and was chatting about the legend of Akujikishima and Beatrice in a happy, tipsy mood. Erika would nod from time to time, but besides this, she listened in complete silence. She wasn't actually taking notes, but she was gathering information on the whiteboard inside her head. Then she frowned as though noticing something out of place and held up her hand. Wait a second. Yes? That shrine was built by a traveling Shugenja? Is that a Pokemon? Monk to seal up the evil spirits of Akuma. Isn't that right? Yes, that is correct. It was one who possessed vast supernatural power, whom placed that power within the mirror, and placed it within the shrine as a sacred mirror to seal the evil spirits. Something feels off about that. Why would a shrine to seal evil spirits off of Major Bison also seal Beatrice? Well, that's because the sacred mirror is spiritual power. I see. So it's this really convenient sacred mirror that works on both evil spirits from the east and the witches from the west. Got it. I'm still not satisfied, but I'll be back off there for now. What I don't understand is why Beatrice can't stand spiderwebs. According to the legend, the evil spirits of despise spiderwebs, so they were apparently used as wards against evil in the surrounding islands. In fact, spiders are a useful bug. There's nothing strange about the fact that the island farmers had treasured them. It's very possible that they were then tied to the story of evil spirits that became known as charms against evil, leading to a tradition of people treating this useful bug with care through the generations. But that's just the legend of Aku. The origins of the legend of the witch Beatrice came after Ushiruma Kinzo moved to this island, when rumors sprouted about the mysterious legend of the gold as well as the witch mistress who gave it to him. In other words, the evil spirits of Aku Aku and the Golden Witch Beatrice were originally completely different things. And yet the stories treat them like they're the same. Well now, the evil spirits of Aku couldn't stand spiderwebs, so neither could Beatrice. That sort of reasoning has been applied all over the place. When it was pointed out that this was strange, Kumasawa was lost for an answer. The doorknob to Kinzo-san's study has a scorpion magic circle drawn on it, which represents a charm against evil in Western sorcery. That's why the Western witch Beatrice can't touch it. I can understand that part. But there's no reason for Beatrice to dislike spiderwebs. I don't remember spiderwebs ever being included among things witches can't stand. On the contrary, wouldn't spiders be the friends and minions of a witch? Well, in my opinion, those two legends about the evil spirits and witch Beatrice have been mixed together a little. In fact, maybe they've been fully fused together as one. The legend of Aku is a fairy tale created by fishermen fearful of reefs in the Rokkanjima area. However, there was no visual image to go along with those evil spirits. Were they people or monsters or ghosts without legs? There's no mental picture of them. People are bad at imagining things without visuals. That's when the legend of the witch called Beatrice came in. A witch is a lot easier to picture than evil spirits. And on top of that, Kinzo-san had a portrait of Beatrice drawn and displayed. In other words, the lack of a visual image, which was the one weak point in the legend of Aku, was finally completed. Since then, perhaps the two legends have been mixed together. Well, I wonder. It is a bit confusing for an old lady such as myself. Kumasawa laughed to smooth it over, wiping away a cold sweat. She might have seemed confused, but she actually did understand what Eric was saying. In truth, she had been vaguely aware of how the legend of Aku, which had been around before the Ushiruma Kenzo, had come to Rokkanjima, and the legend of the Golden Witch and the story of the woman who had given Kenzo a vast quantity of gold had both transformed. She didn't want to acknowledge it, but she knew. The setting where Beatrice hated the spirit mirror and spiderwebs. This had been based on the ancient legend of Aku. The evil spirits part of the legend had just been replaced with the witch of the portrait. So, if there really was someone claiming to be the Golden Witch Beatrice, I'd really like to ask her whether she actually does hate spiderwebs or not. What happens when she touches them? It is said that witches and their minions receive burns when they touch spiderwebs, so that is probably what would happen, I suppose. Humph, not bad. A splendid witch child. If the spiderweb touches her and she gets burned, then she's an evil spirit, not a witch, and if nothing happens and it proves she's just a human. In other words, whether she's burned or not, it will prove that the Golden Witch doesn't exist. The legend of the witch is nothing more than the legend of Aku reboiled with a new face on it. Well, simply by the existence of the legend itself, this level of reasoning is possible for Rudo Erica. What do you think, everyone? Though only the two of them were in the lounge, Erica faced in the direction of an invisible audience would have been, and shrugged. And just as Erica imagined, the targets of her comments actually were there listening in. Spiderwebs? They burn if you touch them? When Beato the Elder snapped her fingers, a graceful silver spider slipped down from the ceiling, hanging by a transparent thread. Afterwards, only a single silver strand remained. Timidly, Beato stretched her finger out towards the spider's string. Then she touched it. I'm fine. You are? Huh? Beato the Elder lifted up a white pale finger, and after showing it to her sister, she traced the silver string with it. There was a stench, like a single hair being burnt. Once again she held her finger up in front of Beato, who was stunned. There was a thin burn line, as though someone had traced across it with a razor. What's going on? That's what I would like to know. Why are you unharmed? I don't know. What I don't understand is why you do get burned by touching a spiderweb. I do not know. It has always been like that since I first gained consciousness. Then, are you? Beato hesitated. However, her question was clear. No, I am not one of the evil spirits of Aku. I am Beatrice, ruler of Rokkanjima's knight. Even I do not know why I have the same weakness as this island's evil spirits of old. Are spiderwebs the only thing that you can't handle? As this Erica person said, I cannot touch the doorknob to Kenzo's study. That scorpion magic circle burns me. For me, trying to open the door to the study is like trying to pick a red-hot horseshoe out of a fire. What about you? Ah, scorpion magic circles, you mean? The older sister snapped her fingers again. When she did, the surrounding scene bent and twisted, and they had suddenly moved to the place in front of Kenzo's study, and there was the doorknob engraved with the scorpion magic circle. Those who researched magic must have a refuge sealed off from both human and spiritual disturbances. It's no surprise that Kenzo chose to seal off his study and place a charm such as this here. And unfortunately that affects me as well. She gently grasped the doorknob. As she did, a violent burning sound, unbelievably stronger than the one caused by the spiderweb, rang out. One-sama, are you okay? Your hand, Her hand had been horribly burnt, and Beato couldn't help but avert her eyes. Fear not, this scratch will heal quickly. Apparently it would heal by itself if left alone. The older sister seemed to heal at an inhuman rate. However, it seems that you can handle it just fine. She timidly poked at the doorknob. Nothing happened. Slowly she touched it with her entire palm, but she felt nothing but a pleasantly cool sensation. Strange. Though you are my double, you are different from me in several ways. While I might be able to touch the doorknob, if I ever get burnt like you did, I don't think I'd heal that easily. It's as though you're a normal human. Yes. Even I find it a little hard to believe that I'm a witch. I can't use magic like you, and I can't get strange burns or heal from them later. Father believed that I was the great witch reborn, but I cannot believe that. Who are you? I am Beatrice. I was born for Father's sake. And you, One-sama? I am also Beatrice. I used magic to give Kenzo gold and later became a soul, and the formless witch which haunts this island. Just who on earth are we? Unlike me, you seem to be a being in possession of a body. Huh? Really? Yes. I thought of it while listening to that Erica person. I am a witch who can use magic but has no body, and you are a witch who has a body but can use no magic. Eventually, perhaps we will become one, each filling in what the other lacks, to form the true, complete Beatrice. It seemed to make sense. Both of the Beatrices were missing something. If they became one, then they would surely be very close to the Beatrice that Battler desired. Do you want to try? Huh? Hold out your hand. The older sister slowly raised her palm and held it out before Beato. The large burn for a second ago really had started to heal already. It may be possible for us to become one. I want to know as well. By becoming one with you, I want to learn about my future self. Beato also raised up her hand slowly, and the two hands touched. But nothing happened. Perhaps this meant that while they were fated to become one eventually, that time had not yet come. For me, being burned by the spiderwebs is perfectly normal. However, you didn't even know about it. In the same way, you say that the reason you were born was for your father's sake. Apparently that father is Ushiromi, a battler. I know him as a rare guest who only comes a few times a year. But I cannot understand that connection you and I have with such an infrequent visitor. Surely we must learn more about each other. Yeah, you're right. I get the feeling that learning about each other will lead us to something very important. On the other side lies the single future Beatrice. No, it may be more correct to call her the true form we are meant to possess. With their hands still joined, the two Beatrices swore to fill in the parts that the others lacked and regain their single form. Bit by bit, Beato was walking down the path that led to the former Beatrice. Yeah. I could hear the eerie sound of wind and rain. Once again, I hazily regained consciousness on top of the bed. The finger that the witch had bitten off was attached to my hand. That's not to say that it was all an illusion, but my finger was now attached, after all the pain and the teeth marks as though a witch had bitten it, were still there, and yet the window which I had supposedly smashed had been fixed as though it had never been broken in the first place. How can I escape from this creepy room?